first glance, the Wabash River looks calm, almost untouchable. However, looks can be deceiving. Beneath the surface is dying a little more each day. Years of pollution and sewage dumping have poisoned the iconic waterway, turning it from a symbol of life into a warning sign for the future. This isn't someone else's mess to clean up, it's ours. And if we don't act now, we risk losing more than just a river. In this video, we'll uncover the Wabash's deep connection to our community, expose the pollution that's suffocating it, and show you how we can fight to bring it back to life.
Before we dive into pollution, we have to understand the history of the Wabash River. According to Banks of the Wabash, the name Wabash comes from the Miami tribe's Wabash word, which translates to water flowing over white stones. The Miami gave the river this name because of how clear the water was. However, according to the Purdue exponent, the present-day Wabash is so heavily polluted that it's considered an impaired waterway, which means it fails to meet water quality standards put in place by the Federal Clean Water Act. As a result, the Wabash is closed for swimming, recreational activities, and fishing. However, this issue didn't happen overnight. Agricultural, sewage, and industrial pollution date back to the 19th century in the Wabash.
Additionally, the Wabash is the longest undammed river east of the Mississippi and home to extensive wetlands. The Indiana Department of Natural Resources estimates that about 24% of northern Indiana's total land area, or about 5.6 million acres, were wetlands 200 years ago, according to Wabash history. To put that in perspective, that is around 2,000 football fields. Over the centuries, long periods of land development and drainage led to significant loss of the Wabash's wetlands. Today, approximately 85% of Indiana's wetlands have been drained and converted to other uses. With the huge loss, it reduces the ability of the landscape to retain water and trap sediment, nutrients, and pesticides that run off the land.
There are several ways to measure water pollution. Of the metrics used to measure water pollution, the Wabash ranks among the worst polluted bodies of water in the state. From 1990 to 1994, the Environmental Working Group conducted a research study on toxic pollution in Indiana waterways. This research concluded that the Wabash had 1.5 million pounds of toxic chemicals dumped into it between 1990 and 1994. Additionally, there were nearly 17,000 pounds of carcinogens, which are substances that increase the risk of developing cancer, and about 100,000 pounds of persistent toxic metals, which are mercury, arsenic, and lead.
So our next issue is sewage overflow. When heavy rain hits cities along the Wabash, the outdated sewer systems often can't keep up, causing raw sewage to overflow directly into the river. According to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, these combined sewer overflows dump untreated human and industrial waste, toxic materials, and debris, making it unsafe for swimming, fishing, and even touching. It's not just bad for wildlife, but it threatens human health and hurts local economies that rely on the river for recreation.
So next we'll be talking about the pollution that comes from the agriculture that surrounds the river, more specifically agricultural spills. Agricultural spills are a growing environmental concern for the Wabash River in Greater Lafayette because of its significant farming activity and proximity to agricultural infrastructure. Water being so close to agriculture can be good for the farmers, but also very harmful to the body of water because of these spills. These spills are accidental, don't happen very often, and are preventable. Agricultural spills, by definition, are the accidental release of large quantities of fertilizer, pesticides, or other farming-related chemicals into nearby waterways. These spills most commonly occur from damaged storage tanks or overflows from manure lagoons. According to AP News, one of the most recent and serious agricultural incidents occurred in March 2024 when a large fertilizer storage tank in the region leaked into a creek that feeds into the Wabash. The incident released a high amount of ammonia and nitrogen, a chemical highly toxic to fish. The result was a 10-mile fish kill that wiped out thousands of fish from the river and connected bodies of water. Without proper storage systems and emergency protocols, the risk of future spills remains high, especially during severe weather where there are increased chances of runoffs and floods. Pollution in the Wabash can have extensive effects on our community in Lafayette. Public health concerns are one of the most immediate effects. Failing septic systems, agricultural runoff, and sewer overflows produce high levels of E. coli bacteria, which can be harmful to humans if ingested or if it even makes contact with your skin. E. coli is even more dangerous for immunocompromised individuals like children and the elderly. This poses the biggest risk to anyone who engages in recreational activities that involve the river, like swimming, boating, or fishing. In addition, fish consumption is compromised by pollution. Toxic contaminants like mercury have led to state-issued fish consumption advisories. These warnings limit safe consumption of locally caught fish. Pollution also places a financial burden on our community, with local government agencies being forced to pay for cleanup and monitoring, or in some cases it being passed down to taxpayers. Moreover, pollution in the Wabash reduces the biodiversity and degrades aquatic habitats, making restoration more difficult and costly. Such pollution not only affects wildlife, but the broader ecological services that the river provides.
How can an individual make a difference? At a personal level, you can support companies that are trying to reduce their pollution rates. Conversely, you want to avoid buying products from places that create high levels of pollution. But if you want to directly help combat pollution in the Wabash, you can join river cleanups or wetland restoration projects. In the article, Detrash the Wabash, the Tippecanoe County hosts biannual volunteer events, with the most recent event being April 5th, that allows you to help restore the health of the river.
Lastly, the Wabash River faces serious environmental challenges. These issues not only harm the river's ecosystem, but also affect public health, recreation, and local quality of life. Addressing these problems requires stronger pollution controls, community interest and engagement, and ongoing restoration efforts to protect one of Indiana's most vital resources for future generations.